I'm Elaine Sims. I'm on the campus of St. Catharine's College. I believe this is our third filming this year. We're into the month of December, and we have not yet had the president on our show, President Bill Huston. I don't think he needs an introduction, but I'm going to let him introduce himself to any of our new viewers.
Thank you, Ms. Sims. My name is Bill Huston, and I've been at St. Catharine's for 16 and a half years now.
Goodness.
And I think the day I arrived, I had blonde hair, and you see what color it is now. So it's been
still kind of blonde.
It's been a journey, and thoroughly enjoyed the journey, and one that I don't think I would have traded for anything. It seems like a long time since we've talked, and I think the last time we talked, we were getting ready to dedicate the Emily W. Hunley
that beautiful library. Yes,
and,
yes.
You know, we had a board meeting in there the other night, and they picked up some brochures of the Joanne Weiss art exhibit, and I said, it seems like every week we have either an exhibit or a lecture, or a book signing, or something, and we had no place for any of those activities before, and what people have begun to realize, which I think we realized from the beginning, the way it was designed, was the Emily W. Hunley Library is more than a library. It is a community center. It is a student center.
And that's happened very quickly.
Yes, and you can go and you can start early in the morning and have breakfast there, and you can study. You can go to the computer labs. You can get small spaces reserved, to study in. We have board meetings there. We have classrooms there. The Berry Center has their headquarters there. We have public exhibits there.
Well, and just yesterday I learned Dr. Oglethorpe, who I got to interview, had a book signing there, which is a wonderful book for our audience. In case they're interested, they could always come here to buy his book. Brother Paul from Gethsemane was there, which I didn't know. So I don't know how we can get the word out on that, because our book club went to see Brother Paul at Gethsemane. But it's very exciting for this college, who has always been schooled in the fine arts, to be able to bring that back, and it's been done in such a subtle but beautiful way, in such an incredible building, which you have to have a gathering space. You have to have that.
And then the opening of that building had a domino effect, and it allowed our art and music departments to expand their areas, and our education department. When you have such a small campus as ours, there is always a domino effect when there's a new asset introduced, and the library just had a ripple effect all the way across campus.
It did, and we did the fine arts department last month. It's just to see the changes here, but you have to be here to understand how it's evolving into a major college.
I have to get a couple of boat anchors to keep Teresa and Betty anchored down.
I think people might be able to tell that from the interview.
They do a fantastic job,
they do.
And this will be so much for their programs too.
Yes,
in the future.
And it's a great space. Much prettier as the fine arts department than it was as the library.
Oh yeah.
The library. Then how do you compare that?
Yeah.
So what programs do we have? But I'm sure we have tons to talk about. I'm just going to let you start.
Well, I tell you what, I had a pretty rude awakening over the last couple of months. I've had a family member that's been in the hospital, my wife's mother. And we started off in Ephraim McDowell Hospital in CCU. And two of the three nurses that monitored her in CCU were St. Catharine graduates.
Oh, wow.
And when I arrived that first night, I felt this little tap on my shoulder, and turned around and she said, "President Huston," she says, "whenever we meet people, it's usually bad, but it's good to see a friendly face." And after a couple of months in and out of there, we were transferred to St. Joe, and the very first person that came in to do her heart scan was Michael, a recent graduate of our cardiac program. Again, there was that smiling face, and And Michael was an interesting case. You know, people don't realize how far that we reach out. And Michael had 22 years in the Coast Guard, and he retired when he was 42. And he was living in, I believe, in Galveston, Texas, his last duty station. And he always wanted to go into imaging. So he got on a computer and he Googled cardiac imaging programs. And there were 6 or 8 around the nation. So he started doing research on all of them. And he's married and has a family. So he settled on St. Catharine. And brought his family up here and enrolled. I don't even think he'd been on campus until the day he came to enroll. And he found out that I'd been a Coast Guard retiree, so he hunted me down in my office one day, and we hit it off. And so we ate lunch about once or twice a semester as he went through his 3-year program. So he graduated and I think went to work at Norton Healthcare in Louisville. Mm-hmm. And then now works, I think, on Saturdays and Sundays over at St. Joe. So I think he's working 7 days a week because they're in such demand. Mm-hmm. But here he was, you know, down in Galveston.
Goodness. And
the power of the internet, you know, to get online to see where these programs are and then to see which ones are performing.
So his sacrifices are paying off?
Yes.
Because that would have had to have been a sacrifice.
Yes.
To move to Central Kentucky.
Yeah, and
drive into this small town.
Now he's commuting from Louisville to Lexington on weekends and still working in Louisville.
That's a great story.
You know, we had a student that came all the way from Guam a few years ago for the vascular program, and she's back in Guam now, and the only person on the island that is licensed, you know, in that area. So, you know, going back and forth to the hospital, I was sitting there thinking, you know, today we have 44 clinical agreements. There's only 134 hospitals in Kentucky, and we're in 44 of them. So we're basically in 1/3 of all the hospitals in Kentucky. But even more importantly, almost all of the major hospitals we are in. You know, everybody in Louisville and everybody in Lexington. Mm-hmm. And then we go up to northern Kentucky. They actually have a couple hospitals in southern Indiana, and then I think we go as far west as the medical center in Bowling Green. So our students get a great exposure. Large, small, community hospitals, you know, large hospitals like Norton. I think they've got 8,000 employees in Jefferson County alone.
Well, and then when they get ready to look for a job, it sure makes it a lot easier.
That's right. And when you rotate around,
yeah.
Yes, and that's why I thought, you know, when we redesigned the education program and those students started going out as sophomores and working with master teachers for 3 years and rotating, you know, from urban to rural to suburban to Catholic to private to public, and by the time they finish 3 years worth of rotations, you know, they have a personal association with 8 or 10 school districts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now when new jobs are scarce, that gives them many more options than when I did my student teaching at Paducah Tillman, and that was the only school I had exposure to. So mm-hmm. they either needed a psychology teacher or they didn't, mm-hmm. you know, and they didn't.
Well, first impressions are always the best, you know, the lasting impressions. And I think when you go into a unit and you have someone like him or the nurses, you know, yes, the doctor is definitely so important. He's life and death, but also your experience. A lot of it depends on that, and definitely affects the mood of the patient and the family.
It does. Sure, it does. And it's just a comfort, you know, knowing that there's an association. Mm-hmm. You know, then I get back to work, and we released the first scholarship recipient, international scholarship recipients. Oh,
yes, we've talked about that with Dr. Baines.
Yes, and we were only able to accept 3, and so we provided an institutional scholarship. I don't know if she talked about this, of about 30% for any of the ones that weren't selected in the first round. And now,
did you?
Yes.
That was not in. That was okay. Yes. That was not.
Probably a little later.
Well, and maybe it was just not a time to bring it out.
Right.
Wow.
So now we've accepted a person from Nepal that was not in the first round, and a second one from from one of the African countries. I'm not sure which one. I think it was the former Gold Coast. But and there's other discussions with 2 or 3 others that are trying to get their financing in order.
For the people that are watching this, we interviewed Dr. Baines in the past, and she had announced that some money was donated to St. Catherine's College, and it was for a full scholarship for 3 international students. It was opened up worldwide, and it is through the Wendell-Berry program. And at that time we couldn't announce it, but that is for, it's so hard to explain Wendell-Berry's concept, but it's really for sustainable future. So it's to learn how to take back to their country things that are not going to involve a lot of chemicals, a lot of pesticides, using what you have, knowing what you are able to do,
Protection.
and then marketing that in your own local communities. And she couldn't announce. I mean, of course, you all hadn't decided. Can you tell us where the first student is from?
I think we have one from India, we have one from Africa, and we have one from Central America. So I believe Costa Rica, and so we have 3 continents,
Wow.
and like I said, I think there were 66 or 69 were fully eligible, under consideration, and all of them were excellent. You can imagine,
I bet
international,
it was so hard to pick.
and many of them had college degrees. The young man in Nepal is a computer scientist, and he's been in the field for 6 years. But he said, since I was a little boy, he said, this has interested me, in agriculture and sustainability. So he's going to take a change in directions after 6 years.
So, I mean, and it was my understanding these 3 students are going to come here. They will be here for 3 years. It will include all their expensive travel back and forth from their country. They get to go home once a year.
Right.
And I think it would be great if the people in the community would reach out to give them a place to be when the campus is empty and it's a holiday season time.
Right.
I've talked to Dr. Baines about that.
Yeah, we have to.
I'd hate to bring them into our circus, but it would be fun to be able to reach out to those people.
Yeah.
And we tried to do this when Martha Lane was here. We tried to take, because we had several international students, and we just never got it off the ground. But I think with Dr. Baines and that program, because they're associated with that, I think we can do that this time.
Right.
I really do, and I say we because I would have done it during Martha Lane's administration. But
Sure.
we just didn't have anybody to spearhead the initial, just to make the advances to progress, to make it happen. So,
Well,
it's our audience needs to know that if there's people out there, maybe come on campus and. Well, we'll interview these students. I'm sure they all speak English, of course.
Oh yeah.
And that was, I think, we talked about that with her. So that's wow. And they're coming in January. Are they coming in January?
The first wave is in January, and this second group that we're negotiating with now will be coming in August, because
Good.
of the, it takes quite a bit of time and effort to get all the international visas and the I-20s and everything together.
Well, I'm sure with the 3 that were chosen, they're shuffling now to get it all together.
Oh yeah. And
a lot of emotion would be going on, thinking they're leaving their country for 3 years, but they know that they're going back, and that they are going back.
Right.
They are going back to take this to their country.
Yes. And but we have international students from Germany and England and Africa and some of our sports programs now. So our international population is going to be changing pretty dramatically, especially the numbers of countries represented.
Yes.
Over the next couple of years. We had a convocation yesterday, and one of the speakers was a young man that's getting ready to graduate, and he came here to play soccer from Africa. And I complimented him on his English. I think his name is Nina Mohammed, and you may have interviewed him a couple years ago. He's got quite a story. And
we did, yeah.
I said, your English is really impeccable, and he said, it's my 6th language. My 6th language.
Goodness.
And I said, we struggle sometimes with English as our first language.
We can't understand the people from Paducah sometimes.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, that is very exciting, and I think it's something that we need to keep up with the program, is the progress of this. But it's and I know it's because of the Wendell-Berry program. This most generous gift. Can we mention who it was from?
Sure.
It was from it wasn't Laura Lee Brown.
Eleanor Bingham Miller. And of the Bingham family, Courier Journal family, and what she has done in the last couple of weeks is she has utilized her connections. Once you commit, then you're in the boat, and she's used her connections to open up some of the most significant farms in the state of Kentucky for summer externships.
And this would be for hands-on things that these students are going to do to not just study, but also to
And
to
these
implement.
farms are doing these principles that they're going to be learning about in the classroom already. On Eleanor's personal farm, she just built $1 million green barn, okay? And does everything from compost to provide solar energy and purification of water, and it's unbelievable. But all of these people that have almost contiguous farms, about 10,000 acres, and most all of them in Oldham County, have all agreed to be players. So we visited 5 farms last month, and we're visiting 5 more this coming Monday. So, and they're taking the students in and providing them a place to stay, and to eat and to work and to learn. And it will be part of their summer externship as they go through this program.
That's exciting. And it's also, it makes me think of everything that our allied health program could offer to other nations.
Right. With
an opportunity like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's
amazing.
Last semester we had a student teacher that went down to Belize and taught the entire semester. Now understand that she's going to go down there and work full time because of this experience. So, you don't have to go to Center for an international experience. You've got one right here at St. Catharine.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, what else are we going to talk about? Of course, we're talking about the scholarships.
Well,
the Fine Arts Department, we've talked about it. We interviewed them last week. It's up to you.
Well, you mentioned scholarships, and I think of the cost of higher education, and that's been in the news a lot the last year. And we've got the Washington County Circle of Friends coming up.
Oh, yes.
And that's our big effort.
December 12th.
December the 12th.
That's our big. Invited to.
You don't have to be from Washington County.
You don't have to be invited. I mean, you don't have to have a special invitation.
No, it's open to everyone, and we've got folks coming down from Louisville, from Lexington, from many different counties.
And the speakers are a plus.
Yes.
Because we're having
Tom Leach and Mike Pratt.
Mike Pratt. So.
And they've got a special surprise in store for us that night. But they're the voice of the Kentucky Wildcats. And if you're a U of L fan, you can come and throw them some pointed questions.
That's right. Talk to them like they're Matt Jones.
That's right. That's right. But that event, we're hoping this year, our goal is $250,000, and that event provides scholarships for, just like the golf tournament that we have every year, for our students. And with the cost of education going up, institutional aid and scholarships.
I think that is so important to dwell on that about both of those events, is that it does go to scholarships.
It does.
So it actually affords students to come here to St. Catherine's College at a discount.
Of it.
Yes.
Goes straight to the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that is really, I think people like knowing that. That's wonderful.
And when I came here, I think the differential between a private education at St. Catherine's and University of Kentucky was about a 5-to-1 ratio, and now it's less than 2-to-1. Yeah. And the privates have really tried to hold the costs down, and we provide a lot more institutional aid, and the publics have gone up pretty steadily.
Are you allowed to talk about the perk that people would have for donation before that event?
The perks?
To be with Tom Leach and...
Well, we're going to have a little pre meeting with Tom and Mike, and where you can get down and really speak one-on-one with them.
And so it's anyone that's really wants to see them,
they need to
give. It's for donors.
Yeah, we haven't decided exactly yet, but it'll be pretty public as far as when the letters go out and stuff.
Okay, well, the letters will go out, but I think if anybody's interested in being there
Yes.
for that small reception with them, call the college, ask
Yes.
for Molly Smith,
Right.
and talk to her about that, because I
Right.
really do think. I mean, I have a daughter in Louisville, and she said, "Really?" And I said, "If you'll come out, you'll." So she said, "Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
For people that belong to the K Club and stuff."
Oh, yeah.
It's a perk. It's definitely a perk to get people here.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a very aggressive goal, $250,000. But,
Yes.
But we're about
I wasn't going to say that.
we're about 60%, 65% there, and so we're working diligently each day now.
Good.
It's like a lot of campaigns. You have kind of a silent phase that you work behind the scenes, and then the night of the event, you hope to add to that. So,
Well, it would afford to help us for our student population to grow up, to grow, which is definitely an issue in private schools. So
Sure.
it would certainly help bring more kids on campus,
Oh, yeah.
because it's all going to go to help them come here, which
Right.
is wonderful.
Yeah,
which is
we're-
wonderful. And I guess sometimes we probably need to talk about how, with somebody, about how they decide who gets what money, because people out there are saying, well, I wouldn't qualify for that. Maybe we need to discuss that someday on the show.
the biggest mistake that people can make is to look at the sticker price. It's kind of like when you go on a car lot. You have the sticker price, and then you can negotiate and see what incentives are there from the manufacturer, and sometimes there's local dealer incentives, and then the salesman works with you a little bit, and you drive off with a lower price than what the sticker is. Colleges are the same. You see a posted tuition and fee schedule, and then if you're coming out of high school, you bring special scholarship money with you, as far as keys money.
Keys money.
And then we have institutional scholarships. We have a list of local scholarships, maybe a Rotary Club or a Lions Club or BPW, and just different groups. So it's a menu of opportunities, and you have to sit down with the financial aid office and to see what you're eligible for. But we only have about 4% of our students that pay the sticker price.
Goodness.
And everybody else is some different level.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What's going on with the athletics department now? What's in the athletic programs? I'm sure there's so many different things to talk about, but I guess you could highlight.
We had an
what comes to mind.
extremely successful fall season, both volleyball and soccer. Had great seasons. Our women's soccer program broke almost every school record that we had, and got to the finals or semifinals of the conference championship. We had several of our students on the all-conference team. They've done very well academically also, which the whole purpose is to get a college degree.
That's right.
And the male soccer program has also made some great strides, and he's getting ready to go to England and Germany, I think next week, to sign some signees over there.
Wow.
That will help us out. And then volleyball had, I would say, the most successful season we've had since we've been in the Mid-South Conference, and we got to the semifinals there, and just a great season for them. We're in there's 25 conferences in the NAIA, and the Mid-South, the one that we're in with Campbellsville and Lindsay and Georgetown and Pikeville, is rated #1 in most sports.
Goodness.
Football, I think they're #2, but in basketball, in baseball, in soccer, our teams are competing for the national championship every year.
Goodness.
From our conference. And so now we've transitioned into basketball, and I missed the game last night, but we played Pikeville, which is a huge rival, and we got beat in overtime.
Wow.
Yeah,
good.
they said it was an unbelievable game, and I was at the airport following it on my iPhone, waiting for my daughter to fly in from D.C., and it made me very irritable.
Not to be there.
Yeah,
Not
but
to be there.
every game is a battle in our conference, and that's what I love it, because we have little local rivalries. Right down the road is Campbellsville and Lindsay and Georgetown, and that's why we chose this conference. Number one, it's the top in the nation, and we have local rivalries.
Yeah.
So
That's wonderful.
it's a great avenue, and now we would encourage people from the community to come out.
Sure. Sure.
And of course last night we played Pikeville, and their coach is Kelly Wells, who has a strong Marion County connection, and a lot of Marion Countyans always come over to watch Coach Wells. So it's a great atmosphere.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, anything else?
I just want to
wrap up.
I want to thank you and Channel 6 for. I think this is maybe the fourth year, Gary, that you all, fourth or fifth year that you all have had the continuous program. I mean, we've gotten great coverage ever since Gary started the channel, but. And I know that we've enhanced your wardrobe because you always look so beautiful.
I tell my husband you're going to say that.
He tells me he's gonna send me the bill for the wardrobe, but we really do appreciate it, and it's a great way for us to get the word out to our local communities.
It is, and I hear comments about it often. When I was asked to do this, Jenna and. Gosh, it's been at least 5 years, at least. I said, well, if you think I can do it, and there was definitely some question, but we have a great editor, and we could do a whole show about flubs. We really could. But it's been an honor to do it. I mean, until somebody comes up that's definitely better than I am, which I'm not that great, but I don't get nervous anymore, which is wonderful. It doesn't bother me.
Oh.
And we always start at ground zero, and someone said, how do you do that with some people that you don't know? And I said, well, the thing is, I want our audience. They're starting at ground zero.
Right.
They don't know anything about what's going on here.
Right.
And I think it's been a wonderful way to get the word out.
Right.
To get the word out.
Well, we certainly appreciate it at the college, and we appreciate what you have done for us.
Well,
and
And
Gary White.
Channel 6, yes.
And I tell the Gary White story all the time because he had a dream. He was up on the East Coast, you know, I think in maybe the Philadelphia area, and he had this dream of going into TV production. And that's not an easy dream to accomplish. And he had that opportunity to come down to Lebanon and to pursue that dream and to make it into reality and to build it into what it is today. And I think that that's a real example of, for our young people, that if there's a commitment or something that you want to pursue, then the sky's the limit. Because one of the beauties of our land is the only restraints we put on ourselves is what we put on ourselves.
That's right.
So,
I sometimes think he is an identical twin because he's everywhere. I don't know how the man sleeps.
I know. So Gary, we thank you, and Yvonne, who has been your faithful associate for a number of years, and we share her both as a college employee and as your associate. We thank you all for what you have done for St. Catharine College over the years.
Thank you for thank you for being here today.
Sure.
And I'm sure we'll talk again next semester.
Oh yeah.
Anxious to meet some of the new students, and again, I think people need to realize they can reach out to these young people that are coming in here from a different country. Some people would say, would never do that. Some people would say, I would do that. So don't be shy about it. Come on campus and have lunch with them someday.
It'd be great.
Make an acquaintance.
Oh yeah, because they're going to, they're going to be lonely when they get over here, and we're not in a large metropolitan area, and
it's different here. I mean, it's everything about this, and they may be used to a lot of friendly people, which they're going to walk into, but they may not too, and
they won't have cars.
They're going to have an adjustment, right?
No bus service, no cars, and so we're all going to have to really kind of step it up and make them part of our community. And the community is beyond the St. Catharine community. It's the community in general. So,
and we don't have the cab service like we had during the days of the academy, but that's a whole nother story.
They'll be looking for that rickshaw or...
Well, thank you so much for being here this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're always wonderful to interview. Great job. Thank you so much for being our president at St. Catherine's College.